what are those bows? Asked Robin. Those feathered arrows too. A poor present, the good knight said, that I would give to you. Come forth now, Little John, said he, and to my coffers go. Bring me back 400 pounds, the monk would wish it so. And now here is 400 pounds, your noble knight and true, to buy a horse and harness fine, and gild your spurs anew. And should you lack for money, remember Robin Hood, for by my truth you'll never need, while I can do you good. Use well the money, gentle knight, and heed you my advice. Dress not so meanly, gentle knight, now that you have the price. This then is how good Robin succoured the gentle knight. God who sits in heaven, grant that we too do right. The knight his leave has taken, bravely he rode away, but Robin and his merry men dwelled there for many a day. So soft and listen, gentlemen, and hear what I proclaim. The proud Sheriff of Nottingham announced a fine good game. He bade the archers of the north assemble on one day, and he who shot the best of all should bear the prize away. A pair of goodly butts were set up by the greenwood there, and he that shot the best of all, the furthest, low and fair, a right good arrow should he win, with shaft of silver white, and rich red golden feathers. It was a noble sight. Robin he heard about the game under his meeting tree. Make you ready, bold young men. That contest we shall see. Hurry now, my merry men, and I will go with you. Together we'll test that sheriff's oath, to see if he is true. They took their feathered arrows, and each man notched his bow, for 70 of bold young men with Robin Hood would go. And when they came to Nottingham, the butts were fair and long, and there were many archers that shot with bows full strong. Only 6 shall shoot with me, you others guard my head. Stand with your bows full ready, lest I be betrayed, he said. The 4th outlaw bent his bow, and that was Robin Hood. The proud sheriff noted it, as by the butts he stood. 3 times good Robin drew his bow, 3 times he split the wand, as did the good knight Gilbert, the one they call White Hand. Little John and Scathlock were archers good and free, and Much and Reynold not the worst among that company. But when they all had shot in turn, those archers fair and good, there was one better than the rest, and he was Robin Hood. The prize of the fine arrow on him they did bestow. Right courteously he took the gift, but when he turned to go, they cried out loud upon him. The horns began to blow. Woe on you, treason, Robin cried. Your evil now you show. Now woe to you, proud sheriff, for treating thus your guest. Is this the faith you promised me in yonder wild forest? If you were in the greenwood under my meeting tree, I'd have shown you better faith than you have shown to me. Then many an arrow there was loosed, and many a bow was bent, and many a man was wounded there, and many a mantle rent. But the outlaws won the day, the sheriff was outfaced, he and his men full cowardly, they fled away in haste. When Robin saw the ambush fail, at home he longed to be, for many an arrow had been shot among that company. Poor Little John was sorely hurt with an arrow in the knee, and he could neither walk nor ride, 'twas pitiful to see. Master, then said Little John, if ever you loved me, then for the love of that same lord who died upon the tree, reward me for my service, and any sin forgive. Don't let the sheriff find me, and take me while I live. Better to take your noble sword, and smite clean off my head. Give me wounds both deep and wide, but make sure I am dead. Nay, Little John, said Robin, I will not see you slain, though all the gold in England were paid me for my pain. Nay, God forbid, said Little Much, that died upon a tree. If I can stop it, you shall never leave our company. He took him up upon his back, and carried him away, though many a time he stopped and shot to keep his foes at bay. There was a noble castle that lay within that wood, with double ditches all around, within fair walls it stood. And in it dwelled the gentle knight, Sir Richard of the Lee, to whom Robin had lent his wealth under the greenwood tree. He ushered in good Robin, and all his company. Welcome you are, bold Robin Hood, welcome you are to me. I thank you for your kindness, and all your courtesy, for the comfort that you gave me under the greenwood tree. I love no man as much as you, that love I now shall pay. Despite the Sheriff of Nottingham, right here you all shall stay. Shut the gates and raise the bridge, and let no man come in. Now arm you well, and man the walls, and let the siege begin. Swear by St. Quentin, Robin, to this you will resign, to live with me for 40 days, and eat and sup and dine. Quickly were the tables laid, the cloths were quickly spread, and Robin and his merry men to dinner soon were sped. Be still and listen, gentlemen, and hearken to my song. The proud Sheriff of Nottingham took men in armour strong, and canvassed the high sheriff, to raise the country round, to lay siege to the castle that stood so walled around. Then the proud sheriff loudly cried and said, "You traitor knight, you harbour the king's enemies against both law and right. Sir, I admit that I have done the deed that you indict. I swear it on my lances, as I am a true knight. Go now, sirs, be on your way, and leave me safe until you have consulted with the king, and know full well his will." The sheriff had his answer, and it was straight and true. He went to London and the king without more ado. There he told him of the knight, and about Robin Hood, and all his many archers, so noble and so good. And he admits what he has done to add strength to his hand. He would be lord and master of all the northern land. To Nottingham within 2 weeks I'll go, then bowed the king, and justice to bold Robin Hood, and that knight I'll surely bring. Go home now, sheriff, look you do as I command, said he, and order archers good enough from all the wide country. The sheriff took his leave at once, and rode upon his way, while Robin to the greenwood went upon a certain day. Now Little John had healed well of the arrow in his knee, and went straightway to Robin Hood under the greenwood tree. So Robin strode the forest under the leaves so green, but woe unto the sheriff, nowhere could he be seen. The sheriff failed to find him, and thwarted of his prey, he lay in wait for the gentle knight instead by night and day. He waited for that gentle knight, Sir Richard of the Lee, as all along the river banks he flew his hawks so free. And there he took him prisoner, binding him foot and hand. He led that knight to Nottingham, guarded by his own band. The sheriff swore a goodly oath by him that died on the rood, rather than have £100 he'd capture Robin Hood. The knight's wife overheard these words, and she was fair and free. She rode straightway to Robin, upon her fine palfrey. When she came to the forest under the greenwood tree, there she found brave Robin Hood, and all his company. God save you now, good Robin, and all your band, I say, and for our dearest lady's sake, grant me a boon, I pray. My wedded lord a prisoner to Nottingham is taken, and lest he shamefully be slain, don't let him be forsaken. Then Robin answered her at once, that lady fair and free, "Who is the man has taken him?" "The sheriff proud," said she. "That sheriff proud, he has him fast. This is the truth, I say. He cannot yet have travelled more than 3 miles on his way." Then up sprang noble Robin, as though he were possessed. "Hasten now, my merry men, and put you to the test. And he that shall reject this trial by him that died on the tree, here in the greenwood shall that man no longer dwell with me." Soon were many good bows bent, and more than 70 men took hedge and ditches in their stride to prove their worth again. "I vow to God," said Robin, "or else were to my shame, that sheriff I must overthrow and finish off this game." Soon they arrived in Nottingham, and walking down the street with the proud sheriff of that town they finally did meet. "Abide, proud sheriff," Robin said, "for without more ado, some tidings of our noble king I fain would hear from you." "In 7 years, by God," said he, "I never moved so fast. Proud sheriff, you will rue this day before this day is past." Then Robin bent a good full bow, and arrow drew at will. He hit him so that on the ground the sheriff lay full still, and then before he could arise, before he could stand upright, he struck the sheriff's head clean off, with his sword blade so bright. "Now lie you there, proud sheriff, your evil in the dust, for while you live no other man in your false word could trust." Then his band drew out their swords, so sharp and keen and bright, they fought the sheriff's men and drove them off with all their might. Then Robin went and put a bow into the good knight's hand. He cut the prisoner's hood in two and made him by him stand. "Leave now your horse behind you, and teach yourself to run. Come with me to the greenwood, through mire and moss and fen. Come with me to the greenwood, and there within that place remain until our comely king shall grant us both his grace." The king came up to Nottingham, with many knights and good, to capture both the gentle knight and Robin if he could. He asked after bold Robin throughout the country wide, and also after that stout knight that stood at Robin's side. The king he listened to their tale, and hearing what he said, he ordered that the good knight's lands to him were forfeited. And right across to Lancashire he journeyed far and near, until in Plumpton Park he found that he'd lost many deer. King Edward there was wont to find full many a herd of deer, and yet scarce a single beast with good horns did appear. The king was truly angry. He swore by the Trinity, "I wish I had bold Robin Hood before my eyes," said he. "He who will rid me of the knight and bring me now his head, then all the land Sir Richard owns I'll grant to him," he said. "I'd give it with my charter, and seal it with my hand, to have and hold for evermore in this our merry land." Then up spoke a fair good knight, faithful and true. I pray, my liege lord, listen to me now, and heed what I shall say. No man in this fair country shall have that good knight's land, while Robin Hood can ride and walk and bear a bow in hand, for he would lose his head for sure, the best ball in his hood. Give that land to no man, sire, to whom you wish some good. In Nottingham our comely king then lingered half a year, but where brave Robin Hood might be, he not a word could hear. Meanwhile good Robin went his ways by hiding place and hill, and where he found the good king's deer, he slew them with a will. Then up spoke a proud forester, who with our king did stay. If you would see good Robin, you must do as I say. Choose from those within your court 5 knights of the best. Then go you to the abbey, and there as monks be dressed. As guide and spy to Nottingham I then will lead you down, and I will bet my life on it before we come to town. There shall you meet bold Robin, if he's alive and free. Before we get to Nottingham, with your own eyes you'll see. The king in haste made ready, and the 5 knights also. They dressed themselves in monks' habits, and made good haste to go. Our king looked solemn in his cowl, with broad hat on his crown. He truly looked the abbot's part, as they rode into town. He wore stiff boots, so I've heard tell, and truly now do say, and singing to the woods he rode. His men were clothed in grey. His pack-horse and his sumpters followed him close behind, until a man within the trees the greenwood they did find. And there they met bold Robin, standing to bar their way, with many a goodly archer, truly as I do say. Swiftly he laid hold of the horse that our bold king did ride, saying, Sir Abbot, by your leave, a while you must abide. We are yeomen of the forest, we range the greenwood here, and so that we shall never starve, we feed off the king's deer. You have your churches and your rents and gold in great plenty. Now give us some of your riches for holy charity. To Robin then our comely king quickly replied, said he, I brought no more than 40 pounds to the greenwood with me. For I have lain at Nottingham this fortnight with our king, and much of my wealth I there have spent on many a great lording. To me remain but 40 pounds, and that is all my due. But if I had 100 pounds, I'd give it all to you. Robin then took the 40 pounds, divided it in 2, and half he gave to his merry men to enjoy as was their due. Full courteously then Robin said, Take this for your spending, so we shall meet another day. I thank you, said our king, for good King Edward greets you well, and sends his seal by me. He bids you come to Nottingham to feast right merrily. The royal seal he then displayed for Robin Hood to see, and Robin knew how to behave. He knelt down on his knee. I love no man in all the world as well as my lord king. Welcome are you, both seal and monk, that does the seal bring. Sir Abbot, for your tidings you now shall dine with me, all for the love of my lord king, under my meeting tree. Then Robin took him by the hand and led him to a seat, and many a deer was swiftly slain and cooked that they might eat. Robin took his full great horn and loud began to blow, till 70 of brave young men stood ready in a row. They bent their knees to Robin, and when King Edward saw how they did kneel before him, by St. Austin he swore, By God's pain it is seemly to see a sight so fine. His men are more at his bidding than my men are at mine. Quickly was their dinner served, and to their meat they fell, and Little John and Robin Hood they served our king full well. Before our king they set a plate of venison full fine, with good brown ale and good white bread, and also good red wine. Now make good cheer, said Robin, Abbot, for charity, and for the news that you have brought, blessed may you be. But you shall see the life we lead before you go away, and you can then inform our king when next you with him stay. Then up the outlaws leaped in haste, and bent their bows again. Our comely king was sore aghast, he thought he would be slain. Instead they set a pair of wands, and went towards them straight. By 50 paces, said our king, the distance is too great. On each side hung rose garlands, while from behind the line shot each in turn. Should any miss, his bow shall be his fine. Said Robin, he shall give it to his master without fail. Mark you, no man I shall spare. As I drink wine and ale, a buffet on that man's bare head shall be his lot also, and all who missed the rose garland received a mighty blow. But Robin shot twice in his turn, and twice he split the wand. The only man who matched him there was Gilbert the White Hand. Though Little John and good Scathlock did what they could and more, when they both missed the garland, Robin struck them full sore. But then on Robin's final shot he evened up the score, missing the garland mark himself by 3 fingers or more. And bravely spoke good Gilbert. To Robin he did say, Master, your bow is forfeit. Now stand and take your pay. Since I deserve no better, said Robin, it must be so. Sir Abbot, take my arrows too, and pray you strike the blow. My order, said our noble king, forbids me raise my arm. For if I struck a yeoman, I might well do him harm. Nay, boldly strike, cried Robin, I freely give you leave. No sooner said than done, our king then folded up his sleeve. And such a blow he gave, he nearly felled him to the ground. By God, you are a stalwart friar, cried Robin, I'll be bound. There's such strength in your arms that you could draw a bow apace. And thus at last did Robin and our king meet face to face. Robin looked our comely king intently in the face. So did Sir Richard of the Lee. They knelt down in that place, and seeing Robin Hood kneel down, his outlaws did likewise. My lord, the King of England, now I you recognise. I cry you mercy, said our king, under your meeting tree, of all your goodness and your grace, both to my men and me. Yes, before God, the king went on, pardoned you both shall be. But you must leave the greenwood with all your company, and come home, Robin, to my court, with me there to reside. I vow to God, said Robin Hood, and by that vow abide. I'll willingly come to your court, your service for to see, and I'll bring with me of my men full 73. But unless I like it well, I swear I'll come back here, to shoot as I was wont to do, my monarch's quick brown deer. Have you green cloth, asked our king, that you can sell to me? Yes, before God, said Robin Hood, some 30 yards and 3. Then Robin, said our comely king, in your generosity, sell me some of that good cloth to clothe my men and me. Yes, before God, or else I'd be a fool, said Robin Hood. Come Christmas you'll be clothing me, I think, and for my good. The king threw off his cowl right then, and dressed himself in green, and every knight there did the same, a great sight to be seen. When all were clothed in Lincoln green, they threw away their grey. Now shall we go to Nottingham, just as our king did say. Outlaws and knights together, to Nottingham they went. They drew their bows and shot full well, until their shafts were spent. Our king he rode with Robin, as I have heard men say, and the two men shot pluck buffet, as they went on their way. From Robin Hood the king received some goodly blows that day, for Robin would not spare him each time he made him pay. The king said, God me help, this game cannot be learned, I fear. I would not win a shot from you, though I shot all this year. All the folk from Nottingham could only stand and stare. Nothing they saw but mantles green, filling the fields there. And to each other they did say, our king is dead, I fear. If Robin comes to town, he'll leave no townsman living here. So yeoman and knave they quickly turned and fled for safety's sake. Old wives with sticks who could scarce walk went hopping in their wake. Our comely king laughed long and loud, and ordered their return. And when they saw our comely king, their hearts with joy did burn. They ate and drank and made good cheer, and sang both high and free. Then up spoke our comely king to Richard of the Lee. He gave the knight his land again, and good he bade him be. Then Robin thanked our comely king, and kneeled down on his knee. Robin for 3 months and a year within the court did stay. He spent above £100, and all his yeoman's pay. For every place that Robin went, his money he laid down, for to do good to knights and squires, and win himself renown. And when the year had run its course, to him remained 2 men. Little John and good Scathlock did not desert him then. And when he saw the young men shoot gaily upon a day, alas, then said good Robin Hood, my wealth has slipped away. Yet once I was a bold archer, the stoutest of my band, the strongest archer and the best in all this merry land. Alas, then said good Robin, my woe has no relief. If I dwell longer with the king, I shall be slain with grief. Forth then went good Robin, and came unto the king. My lord the King of England, grant me my asking. For I have built in Barnesdale a chapel fine to see. It is for Mary Magdalene, and there I wish to be. During these past 7 nights I have not slept a wink, nor during these past 7 days have I had food or drink. I long to be in Barnesdale, I can no longer stay. Barefoot and dressed in coarse wool cloth, I must go on my way. If it is so, then said our king, and may no better be, then 7 nights I give you leave to stay away from me. Kneeling down upon his knee, thank you, said Robin Hood, and taking leave most courteously, he went to the greenwood. And coming to the greenwood, one merry bright morning, he heard again the clear high notes of the merry birds that sing. "It is too long," said Robin, "since I have tarried here. I long to stay a little while, to shoot the quick brown deer." Then Robin slew a great full hart, and loud his horn he blew, and all the outlaws in the wood full well that horn they knew. They gathered all together, and to the tree did go, till 70 of brave young men stood ready in a row. There they all put off their hoods, and there they bent the knee. "Welcome," they said, "our master, under this greenwood tree." Robin for 22 years dwelt in the greenwood then. For dread of good King Edward, he'd not go back again. Yet in the end he was beguiled, and by a woman's sin, the prioress of Kirksley, that was his kith and kin. She loved a knight of Doncaster, Sir Roger was his name, who hated Robin above all men, and vowed to bring him shame. Counsel they took together to see how they might slay bold Robin, and to pick the men to kill him if they may. Then up spoke good Robin under the greenwood tree, "I fear I must go to be bled tomorrow in Kirksley. There Sir Roger of Doncaster made love to his prioress, and there was Robin Hood betrayed through his and her falseness. Now Christ that died have mercy on the soul of Robin Hood, for he was a good outlaw, and did poor men much good."